Okay, then the last one is this rolling bass. Super common sound in like most progressive and melodic house styles. Let's just duplicate this, and there's the MIDI. So let's just go in here and turn off all of the effects that we added. So yeah, this is quite a involved sound in terms of effects, but it doesn't need to be that complicated. So yeah, let's we're using Wavetable for this, and I just like the more sort of digital synths for this type of sound, because you have so much more like accuracy and control over the shape of the envelopes and stuff like that. So generally I would be using something like Serum, third-party synth, for this sound, but I think the next best thing would be Wavetable in Ableton. Okay, so we've got Wavetable open, and now the first thing we want to do is set it up to be a saw wave. And we can immediately hear that some of the notes are overlapping and kind of getting a bit ugly. So make sure we set it to mono. Here it's currently set to poly. On analog, we set it to mono by clicking on this drop down arrow, but on this one, all you do is click on the poly button and it becomes mono. Okay, now the notes are no longer overlapping. So let's first go into our amp section here, and we want to bring the decay and sustain down. So the sustain needs to be at -infinity, and the decay, I'd say around 420 is good. And then let's just bring down this frequency. Here you can see on the original one I automated the frequency, so let's actually save that automation. I'm just going to re-enable it. So you can hear it currently basically takes out all of the high end. Can't hear anything. So what we need to do is increase the envelope amount, and we can use envelope 2 here and map it to the frequency amount by going into the matrix. And then make sure that you click on frequency over here, re-enable that automation again, so that when you go into the matrix, you've got this frequency highlighted here, and you can map stuff to it. So here we can go to envelope 2, and we just increase this parameter. And then you hear that filter opening up. And now I want to basically adjust the timing of this second envelope so that we get the length of pluck that we're after. And I actually have a bit of a sweet spot for this. I find between 300 to 450 usually sounds good to me. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so that's basically the core of the sound, is to make this short, plucky sound that has a nice top end in it. And then you go in and you just set this filter frequency amount to taste. Right, then I start adding effects. The first thing I usually add would be like a chorus, just to add a little bit of width to it. It's subtle, but it does widen the sound ever so slightly. And then I added this EQ8 to just take out some of the high end. And then saturator, as always. And that's probably adding a bit too much volume, but I think the reason I did that is I just wanted the sound to be louder. But initially when I set it up, I would have gain staged it and made sure that it's actually improving the sound. Yeah, and it's just giving that top end a little bit more bite, which is nice. So then I just turned this up because I wanted the overall volume to be louder. And then another EQ8. Just boosting that sub and just taking out the very hissy top end. Okay, so this is like, you know, a completely creative process, and it's always good to experiment and kind of make your own version of the sound. So that's why I just went in and I messed with erosion. And erosion basically is a great little tool if you want to add like an interesting high end to any sound. It's got these 3 different modes, and here I've used this sine mode, which almost sounds like same effect as bit crushing has, or not bit crushing, downsampling. So without it, sounds like this. With it, yeah, it gives it that like really nice, like almost digital, like artifacting on the top end. And then I've got this really short delay, which is almost like a slapback delay. And it's important here to use this filter section to just take out that low end. So you can just drag this around and just take out the low end, because we don't really want to be affecting the sub with this delay. I just wanted to use this to add some space on the top end. So I've unsynced this delay, set it to 114 milliseconds on ping pong mode, and then brought the dry wet down to taste. And then I've got another reverb here, and again, important to take out the low end using the filter section. Here, what I've done is I've taken the size down to almost its smallest, I think. Yeah, it doesn't go any smaller than that. I wanted a really small room reverb, and then I've got a short decay, 710 milliseconds, and then I've also played with this pre-delay. I think it just gives it it puts it in a space, but it also gives it this really cool width to it. And then yeah, just adjusting this dry wet to taste. So yeah, again, it's a creative process. You might not like the sound of the erosion. You could take that off. But I think it kind of brings the sound a bit more to the front. I really like it. You could always filter out a little bit of that really, really high top end at the end of it. And you would still get the effect of the erosion bringing the sound more to the front of the mix. Okay, so then further things you could try. Sometimes I like to mix in a second oscillator and maybe put it one octave higher. So maybe set this to 12. And then you might want to just bring down the volume of that. And maybe you try it as a perfect fifth. You could set that to 7 semitones. Or even higher. Yeah, we can go to 19. That gives it some nice character. So yeah, just get creative. You might want to layer it with another wavetable. So what you could do is group it. So I've just hit Shift and Control G to group it. And then you could make a second chain. That second chain, you could turn off the first oscillator and make a wide version of the second oscillator by turning on this unison here, setting it to something like, I don't know, try classic, bring up the voices. And if we solo this one, now we've got this kind of wide sound, and just blend them back together. Now you've got a nice full sound too. So yeah, it's just about getting creative and making your own version of the sound. The point of this video is to show you general process for making these types of sounds, and then you can go in and get creative and make it your own. Alright, I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching. If you want to get more involved in sound design, we have some courses linked below. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you at the next one.